Assalamualaikum and greetings everyone. I'm Murfiqah Aqilah binti Murad and today I'll be presenting to you my critical analysis of the article titled Malaysia throws away 17,000 tons of food daily written by Azreen Hani. So I'll be explaining about the first rule, which is rule number one, topic. When I analyzed the article, I think the writer was trying to write an informative text article because she wants to inform the readers about the food that was wasted daily by the consumers, including the large amount of resources that the government has wasted in order to produce the food for the consumers. Be- The food that was wasted by the consumers has resulted in the non-profit organization to save and distribute the surplus food to be given to those who need it. The issues of the food and resources that are wasted by the consumers and government has contributed to another larger issue, which is pollution. I'll move on to the second rule, which is rule number two, content. Firstly, the writer mentioned that about the food that was wasted by the consumers on a daily basis. They have wasted an amount of 17,000 tons of food. The resources that were wasted by the government, one of the examples of resources that the government has wasted are land and water. These, these issues combined has resulted in the pollution of the greenhouse gas to, to pollute the environment. I'll be moving on to rule number four, which is target audience. The target audience for this article is a non-specialist audience which targets the consumers who waste their food daily. It is mentioned in the line of the article that there is an urgent need for Malaysia to look into curbing food waste in the country as up to 17,000 tons of food are wasted on a daily basis. Since this is a non-specialist audience, the writer uses an informal and simple language. Also, there are no scientific words found in the article because the audience can understand the content better. Then I will move on to rule number five, which is rhetorical function. The article is written to warn the readers about the negative impact of food wastage. Food that are thrown away at landfills can cause the emission of CO2. CO2 means carbon dioxide. The emission of carbon dioxide can also cause the greenhouse gas to affect the environment. Since there is a large amount of food wasted on a daily basis, food waste contributes food waste is one of the largest contributors of the greenhouse gas to affect the environment. Then I will move on to rule 6, which is the purpose. The purpose of the article is to change the mindset of the readers, to show the commitment of having no food wastage being recorded in the country. This warning was made by the author because she has experience writing articles related to issues resulting in the situation to be worse. For example, the author has written an article about where people did not work together to to combat the issue of the coronavirus affecting other people because because some of them complied to the SOP procedures while some of them did not comply to the SOP procedures. Because of that, there was a high rise in the COVID cases. Because of the author from the author's experience from writing the article, she is determined that cooperation is needed to combat issues that can harm the world. For example, if the people work together to not waste food on a daily basis, it means that food wastage cases can be decreased. So I'll be moving on to rule number 7, which is perspective. For the writer's stance, the writer believes that the consumers have wasted an excessive amount of food on a daily basis, the go- including the resources that the government has wasted have, has wasted in order to produce the food for the irresponsible consumers. Because of these two issues, it has led the non-profit organization to save and distribute a large amount of surplus food to be given to those who need it. So to support my so for my stance, I strongly agree with the writer's stance. So here I'm going to show you about my three evidences to support my stance. Firstly, the author has successfully mentioned that the consumers have wasted a large amount of food daily. So for my evidence, according to the article titled 9 million meals wasted every day by Malaysians, written by Anne Dorrell, it, it is mentioned that an estimated amount of 4,046 tons or 24% is avoidable food waste. Secondly, since there are a lot of food that was wasted, the non-profit organization called the Lost Food Project has saved and distributed the surplus food to be given to those who need it. According to the article titled How This Malaysian NGO is Fighting Food Wastage and Feeding the Hungry by Erich Chu, it is stated that the Lost Food Project has saved and distributed an amount of 500,000 kilograms of surplus food, which has led to 2 million meals to be able to be provided to those who need it. Finally, for my last evidence, the writer has also successfully mentioned about the large amount of resources that the government has wasted in order to produce food for the irresponsible consumers. According to the article titled Effects of Land Clearing by Marina Soma, it is stated that land clearing can cause a major pollution towards the environment because there is no soil, there are no trees to support the soil. Because of it, because of that issue, it can also cause another environmental pollution to happen, such as water pollution. So we're finally at the end, which is rule number 8, positioning. For the last rule, I have identified that there are three participants found in the article, which are consumers, government, and the non-profit organization called the Lost Food Project. First, I'll be explaining about the consumers. They are described as the cause of the issues because they have wasted a large amount of food to be wasted on a daily basis. Secondly, the government is described as wasting the resources of the environment because they give out orders to clear the lands and use a large amount of water to produce the food for the irresponsible consumers. So finally, the non-profit organization, the Lost Food Project, is described as a savior because because they have been able to retrieve and distribute a large amount of surplus food that they can find from the food wasted by the consumers, and they are able to give the surplus food to those who really need the food. That is all from me. Thank